I tried. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday. It is Monday. It is freaking cold up here in northern Wisconsin. Welcome to StudentLoanJustice.org live stream. Cold as it's cold when you go to your cupboard and you get a can of beans and you open that can and the can is literally frozen solid. You know it's cold. Welcome to my world. Anyways, we are StudentLoanJustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, first, and only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for the people, for the borrowers. We don't have any secret handshake deals. We don't refer lawyers to people. We don't do any weird little stupid corrupt things. Anyways, all we care about are the people. So if you're new to the group, welcome. By the way, please spread the word about this group. It's so incredibly important. So a couple of announcements. Check us out on the Peacock channel. It's a thing. It's a student loan documentary, very important. It's called Lone Wolves. Look for it. Second thing, we're going to be in Los Angeles, which will be nice and warm, on March 1st. March 1st. I said March 2nd last night, but it's actually March 1st. And this is going to be in sort of a nice part of Los Angeles, by the way. So if you happen to be in the Los Angeles area, come by and see us on March 1st. And I will post the flyer to the event. It's all about screening the film Lone Wolves. So, and the third thing I have to say, guys, is please donate if you would. It is absolutely critical at this point. Our donations are very meager, and particularly right now. And we are in literally very real danger of folding, of disappearing. And hopefully by the end of this discussion, you'll see that this group is worth saving and is definitely worth your support. So just please, you can see the link right there. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions or comments, and I can see them on Twitter or Facebook, by all means, throw them out. And I'm very, very happy to respond to them in situ. So tonight I want to talk about, so there's a new bankruptcy process that the Department of Education and the Justice Department rolled out in November of last year, so just a few months ago. And so this group, we started the entire ball rolling on what I'm about to explain to you. So before James Cavall even took his position at the Department of Education as the undersecretary, I believe, of education. He's the guy who controls the guy who runs the federal loan program. So it's a very high position. Before he even took office, I jawboned him very strongly. And I said, James, you need to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. I know you can't change the law, but you can at least do that. And he agreed, and he said he would try. And lo and behold, in November, we got an announcement, which was what I was expecting to be an announcement, that the Department of Education was going to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't exactly that. In fact, I wrote an article about it, and I called it a cruel joke on the borrowers. And it is, because, okay, maybe they aren't opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy anymore, but what they have done is taken over that entire process and made it so that instead of trying to prove undue hardship in open court against an adversary, which is going to be the Department of Education or its contractors, the Department of Education has become the judge and the jury, essentially, on this undue hardship determination. And what we know about the Department of Education is that, they and their contractors have challenged people's bankruptcy filings for things like taking their kid to McDonald's on Sundays, or having a 15-year-old son who could legally work soon and help his mom pay her student loans. Like, that's the sort of chicken shit things they were pointing to as reasons to deny people their bankruptcy petitions. So, and that's true. And I stand by every word that I said. To me, it was a bitter, bitter betrayal. However, having said that and thinking about things and sort of reflecting, I will say that there may be something of value to this thing that we did not have before. So the way this process is going to work going forward is that after you file bankruptcy, not before, after, that's important. After you file for bankruptcy, if you have student loans, you fill out essentially a questionnaire. It's not an affidavit, but it's a intake form for the Department of Education, Department of Justice. They look it over and they tell you whether they would approve this undue hardship claim or not, whether they approve it, what their recommendation to the judge will be. And I think we all know the judge is going to do whatever they say. Sort of a kangaroo court type thing. So, I mean, it's kind of good. There's something good there. And the good thing is that, before, if you wanted to file bankruptcy on your student loans, you file for bankruptcy, but then you have to pay a lawyer, who knows, $5,000, $10,000 to go through this adversarial proceeding. Well, under this new process, the way it would work is, you pay the lawyer $1,000 for your bankruptcy filing. Then you submit your information to the Department of Education. Then they tell you essentially whether it would be approved or not. So, and then if they say, yes, we agree you have undue hardship, then you do the adversarial proceeding. And I would think it's pretty much a 100% chance the judge will then treat your loans the same as all other loans that he looks at. So you don't have to pay the $5,000 to find out the hard way that, oh no, you don't get a discharge. So, and it sounds like I'm grasping at straws here, and quite frankly, I am. But, 150,000 people a year with student loans file for bankruptcy. Is a pretty good estimate. So, if I would say if you were going to file for bankruptcy anyways, like you have other debts as well, and the wheels have come off the wagon, etc., then this new bankruptcy process is good. It's good. You can submit your information at no cost and get them to review your undue hardship claim and deny it or approve it on the spot. So it's not the worst thing in the world for people who were already going to file for bankruptcy anyways. And it also makes the process maybe slightly more trustworthy, I guess, maybe. So, it still sucks. And this whole conversation we're having only demonstrates the sheer insanity that student loans are ever treated differently from any other loans ever. That is the true injustice here, guys, and that has not gone away. But having said that, I will say that if you were going to file for bankruptcy anyway, well then, you should definitely fill out this thing and see what they say. And we'll see. We'll see what the results will be. Has the Department of Education turned over a new leaf, and now that they are now looking to, they are looking with a favorable eye to discharge more loans? Well, maybe. I've known James for many years now, and if anybody at the head of the Department of Education was going to be more lenient in assessing undue hardship, it would be James. So there's that. And maybe I should also say, so I got an email from him maybe a month, 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. And he basically, I can't remember what he said exactly, but the gist of it was, I'm sorry you are disappointed. Our hands are tied because undue hardship remains the law of the land until we get our bills passed. But, I'm just thinking, reading between the lines, there might be something there. The Department of Education may be looking to actually discharge some loans in bankruptcy these days. So, and that is not an endorsement at all of the whole thing. The whole thing is just ridiculous. And the fact that we even have to fight at all to do something as unpleasant as file for bankruptcy, as we would on all other loans, it makes blood shoot out of my eyes. I mean, we shouldn't even be here. As a group, we should not be here. Bankruptcy should have never been taken away from student loans. And so I stand 1,000% by every word I've ever said about this fucking loan scam. Pardon my French. But there is some hope there, guys. And so that actually all started with us. I talked to James months and months before he took office, and we had a good conversation. He agreed to fight for it. I talked to Greg Murphy, Joe Biden's campaign manager in Iowa, in a very meaningful way, and Greg agreed that it was a good idea, and they're going to look at it very carefully. And so, lo and behold, here we have the results. So that did all start with this group, guys. I hope that some of you can appreciate that. As I sit here, with just no support, guys, it's very tough. And I hope that you can at least see a little bit of reason there that this group needs to not disappear, as it would appear we are on the verge of doing, guys. And that is just the truth. We can't go even another month without very significant or like much increased financial support from you guys, dudes. And I'm sorry to be having to harp on this. I wouldn't have to harp on it if we were even floating along, like not worrying about our next fucking electric bill. So pardon my French. So anyways, the bankruptcy thing may be kind of good. If you're going to file for bankruptcy anyways, you can think about your own situation. I would strongly recommend you go to our Medium, and let me just dial that in. I strongly recommend, if you're considering bankruptcy, go to our Medium platform and read the article. It should be, I think, kind of near the top of the page, talking about the new bankruptcy process being a cruel joke. Read that so you understand. But more than that, read the links in the article. Go directly to the guidance that was issued by the Department of Education. So not just the press release, but the actual guidance itself. And you can read essentially what they're going to look at to determine undue hardship. It doesn't look great, but if you're over 65, I think there might be some hope there. But you can read all the criteria for yourself. So I'm looking for comments now here. I'm looking for comments now. And remember, guys, that this fight is not over, not by a long shot. This lending system is a disaster. 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 It's a disaster. And hopefully I'm still streaming here. It would appear that I am. I'm getting some feedback that it is not, but let me just dial this in here and see what's going on. And I hope that's not it. I hope everybody's doing well out there in the world, by the way. Hope you are warm wherever you may be. I am looking for our live stream. Okay, there it is. Maybe, hopefully. Undue hardship. Okay, good. So it doesn't look great, but So right now, guys, the main point of this group is getting bankruptcy returned. Unless and until we, the people, have the leverage of bankruptcy returned to us, as it exists for every other type of loan, we're not going to see anything meaningful from the Biden administration as far as loan cancellation is concerned. I don't care how this ridiculous Supreme Court case goes or doesn't go. It's essentially stupid. Everything about it is stupid in the first place, and I can explain that if you want me to, but it's just a huge distraction. So hey, I see some comments here. I'm going to try and get through as many as I can while we're here. Joanna says, good evening. I did again the daily actions. Oh, great. Thank you, Joanna in Florida. Joanna is our probably most tried and true student loan justice warrior in Florida, and I appreciate that, which brings me to remember to say, we have restarted doing our daily actions starting today, ladies and gentlemen. If you look up or down on our Facebook group, you will see today's Monday action. So what we are doing, guys, is we are trying as hard as possible to get the House Republicans to come around, make good on many of their members' rhetoric, public statements about how bankruptcy needs to be returned to student loans. So there's a few key Republicans that I'm looking at right now. One would be Jim Jordan, Ohio. Another would be Matt Gaetz, Florida. Another one might be Glenn Grothman. And there's a few others. But suffice it to say, this is going to have to be a groundswell thing, guys. We need to hit them like a shotgun. So whoever your member of the House of Representatives is, you need to call them and you need to tell them with as strongly as possible to return bankruptcy protections to student loans. And quite frankly, we're asking everybody, but particularly those people out there who have a Republican House representative, get a meeting with them. Get a meeting. Get a phone conference with their staff and bring us in if you want to. We can do all the talking. Very good at this. We can certainly do all the talking and brief them and tell them everything they need to know, which should compel them to get behind returning bankruptcy protections to student loans. Very important. Nothing will happen unless you make it happen. That's always been true. Yeah, Joanna, senators are important, but we've got to focus on the House right now. The House of Representatives is really where the rubber meets the road. But yeah, your senators too. I mean, I would say call both of your senators and your House rep. Switch reverse. As far as priority goes, call your House rep first and then both of your senators. But get meetings with any and all of those people. And we here are very happy to jump in on that meeting and brief them and make a very strong, nuclear strength, strong argument as to why they need to return bankruptcy protections to student loans. And I would maybe even throw in there, add a clawback mechanism on the colleges. That seems to play pretty well in Republican circles, certainly. And frankly, I think it's a good idea. I think the colleges need to have some skin in the game. But whatever the case may be, get a meeting with your House rep. And particularly if they're Republican, bring us in on the meeting. You can drop my name, Alan Collins, studentloanjustice.org. My email is alan@studentloanjustice. You can copy me on all the emails. You can give them my phone number if you want, 202-594-1120. But make that happen. Because as last congressional session proves, not nearly enough people on this group were helping, ladies and gentlemen. Not nearly enough. Joanna was helping. Many other people were helping, but not nearly enough people were. You can't sit back and expect us to do your dirty work for you. These are your loans. This is your problem. And we will absolutely be fucked, pardon my French, if 99% of the people on this group continue to do nothing. That's unacceptable. Me, Joanna, other people, we can't pull your weight for you. We cannot. You've got to pull your own weight. I don't want to be here any longer than I possibly have to get this problem solved. So please get a meeting with your House representative, Democrat or Republican, I don't care. get us in on the meeting. We will happily come in, and we will happily compel them and convince them. This is the battle for student loan justice, guys, and there is no other group fighting this battle. We're it. I wish there was another group. I would join that group and forget about all this nonsense. I can't. It's us. So take that to heart, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I'm getting a little wound up. I will be back on Wednesday. I'm going to try and regiment our live streams from now on, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to try to stick to that this year. See how it goes. But maybe the last thing I will say is, again, dudes, we are going to cease to exist if we do not get, if we can't raise like, I don't know, like $1,000 in the next week and a half. We're going to become insolvent, and I don't want to do that. So if you care about this group, if you appreciate all that we've gotten done, all that we almost got done, but actually all that we actually did get done, and most importantly, all that we are poised to get done, you will not let us disappear. So good luck, everyone. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and Godspeed.